Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on Safe Money Radio. And as always, you might be listening on the radio, you might be watching our podcast or listening to our podcast, or you might be watching our YouTube channel. But today we have a very special guest. I know I say that a lot. A lot of times you're just listening to me, but we've had people like America's IRA expert, Ed Slott on the show. We've had National Social Security Advisor Heather Schreiber. We've had Dr. Wade Fowle. But today we have on someone that I talk about all the time. I talk about Tom Hegna on the show all the time. I've written about him in my books. I've been honored and blessed to speak at some of the same conferences where he's been, and I just followed him for well more than a decade. So, Tom, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Hey, Brad, great to be with you. I'm joining you from beautiful Phoenix, Arizona today.
Yeah. How's the weather there?
It's finally nice. It's been the coldest winter I can recall. But, it's supposed to hit 80 in the next day or two, and it was mid-70s yesterday. So that's getting back to where we need to be.
Awesome. Almost in your golf sweet spot there.
Yeah,
so.
That's right.
Well, hey, guys, I know that if you've listened to me for very long, we've been on the radio for 14 years. I've been talking about Tom for forever. He's a world-renowned economist, and I could just go on and on and on. I know you've heard me talk about paychecks and playchecks. You've heard me talk about Don't Worry, Retire Happy. His show on PBS has aired in more than 80 million homes in the United States and Canada. So unless you've been living under a rock, you know who Tom Hegna is. But Tom, if you would, tell us a little bit about your history. I know you were a military guy. Tell us a little bit about yourself for our listeners.
Yeah, so originally I'm from a small town in Minnesota. My parents were teachers in a small town. I went to college at North Dakota State University, go Bison, on an Army ROTC scholarship. I was commissioned in the military. I spent 6 years active duty Army, was in Germany, was in Fort Ord, California, Fort Huachuca a couple times. Then I spent another 16 and a half years Army Reserve, went to Korea, Japan, Hawaii a whole bunch of times for planning meetings. Retired from the Army as Lieutenant Colonel in 2006. I was in the insurance industry, been in the insurance industry for about 30 years. I was with MetLife for 8 years and New York Life for 15 years. I retired from New York Life in 2011, and that's when I went out on my own. I've written 5 books on retirement, the PBS TV special, and I pretty much speak all over the world. I train financial advisors and then do public webinars and seminars for clients.
Tom, thank you again so much for being here today. Timing is everything. Here we are in early March of 2023 when we're doing this interview, and 2022 was it was quite a storm. The market was down about 20%, and now in 2023, it's been a terrible week this week in the market. But the majority of people that listen to our show and to our program, they're in the 50-plus category. So let's start off by talking about risk. Why is risk such an important topic when it comes to someone in the 50-plus group or someone that's about to retire?
Well, everybody thinks retirement is about how much money you have in your 401k or the value of your house, and that's really not it. The secret to success in retirement is 2 things. Number 1, you want to have increasing income, and number 2, you want to manage risk. And one of the risks that people forget about is a risk called sequence of returns risk. The market was down big last year, and really the bonds were down more relatively than stocks. It was the worst year ever for bonds, and so it was one of the worst years ever for the 60-40 portfolio. And so you've got people out there who they got brokers, and I always say, why they call them brokers, because you're broker than you were, 6 months ago. But they got these brokers, and then they're taking money out of a portfolio that's going down, and that's a recipe for disaster. People think that the riskiest time to invest in the market is when you're older, like in your 80s. The riskiest time to invest is not when you're 87. It's when you're 57 to 67. It's those years right before or right after retirement, because if you lose money in that box, it can devastate your entire retirement. Well, guess where those 78 million baby boomers are? They're all in that box. And so you don't want to take money out of a declining portfolio. Okay. Now, you've got many ways that you can help them with that. There are products that will do that. But even if they don't want to use certain products, they can use what's called a buffer asset, and then they can have something that never goes down and take money out of there when the markets are down. And so there's many ways. You're the save money expert, but as you know, you can protect people from never running out of money, which has been the number one concern of people, by the way, ever since there's been people and there's been money.
Yeah. Absolutely. You mentioned sequence of returns risk. I write about that in my book, Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, and piggybacking on everything you've always taught me, talking about why that's important. So talk a little bit about sequence of return risk and how that actually works.
Okay, well, it can sound complicated, so let me try to make it as simple as I can.
Yeah.
If you retire and you have an investment portfolio and you're withdrawing money out of that portfolio, and the first 2 or 3 years of your retirement, the market goes down, 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 math and science says you are highly likely to run out of money. Conversely, if you retire and you're taking money out of a portfolio in the first couple of years of retirement, the market goes up, up, up. Math and science says you're highly likely to be okay in retirement. The problem is none of us knows when those years will go up or when they go down. We know it goes up about 70% of the time, it goes down about, or 75%, it goes down about 25%, but we never know when those years are. And so that's why it's so important you can manage that risk simply by having sources of guaranteed income cover your basic living expenses. Because, see, Brad, I can weather the ups and downs of a market if I'm not taking money out of that portfolio. I just wait, right? But
Right.
if you got all the money in the portfolio and you have to take money out because that's where your money is, that's where people get in trouble. And so I'm not saying don't be in the market. I'm not saying don't have investments. I'm saying have it in the right place in the right amount and have some guaranteed income in the right place in the right amount. And by the way, that's what the research of all the top PhDs around the world who've studied retirement say. These are not my opinions. These are mathematical, scientific, and economic facts. And now you got companies like Ernst & Young, one of the top accounting firms in the country, just did a white paper and showed that the best investment portfolio doesn't just contain investments. It contains investments, life insurance, and annuities. And this is the top accounting firm in the world because they showed they did a test of 100% stock, 90% stock, 10% bond, 80-20, 70-30, 60-40, 50-50. And then they went back and put in some life insurance and annuities in each of those portfolios. And the portfolio that did the best had all three. So I think you can agree. You need some investments and you need some protection products in there as well.
Boy, Tom, you said something great there, and I know this is true for both of us, but I own stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, life insurance, real estate. I have a little bit of everything, and as a holistic planner, that's what we want. We don't want all of the eggs in one basket for anyone. You need some of all of it, but boy, you sure don't want to be in a rising tide when a major crash comes and pulls out everything from under you and you find out you didn't have any trunks on. There's got to be some protection there. And so we're going to talk more about that. Call us anytime if you're listening. If you want more information, if you want to read Tom's book, 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Now, Tom, I know before you were mentioning something, and I've heard you say this many times. The success of your retirement is not about your assets. Now, people would hear that and say, well, how's that even possible? I mean, surely my 401k, my IRA, that's what this is about. What do you mean when you say the success of retirement is not about your assets?
Your assets can be lost, they can be stolen, they can be swindled, they can be sued, they can be divorced, they can be decimated in a market crash. Really, the success of your retirement depends on those two things I was talking about. How much guaranteed income do you have, and is it increasing guaranteed income? And then number two, risk management, because there's so many risks in retirement. We talked about sequence of returns risk. That's just one of many.
Yep, very good. So I know that you've talked about that, and that makes complete sense to me. I work with so many people who've just gone through a divorce or who just went through like what happened at the beginning of COVID when they were planning to retire, but the market dropped 35% in the quarter they were going to retire. It's really difficult when you did just retire and everything was in the market. But in regard to that, I know you've said a lot of times, and I quote this all the time on Safe Money Radio and in talking to clients, really the success of your retirement is going to depend on the answer to two key questions. What are those two key questions? Go into what that means.
Question number one, how much guaranteed lifetime income do you have? And question number two, have you taken the key retirement risks off the table? Let's talk about them one at a time. Yeah. Guaranteed lifetime income. There are really three sources. Social Security. And why? Because Social Security is a lifetime income annuity. It's a guaranteed paycheck for life. Right. It counts. The second source is a pension. Why? Because a pension is a lifetime income annuity. It's a guaranteed paycheck for life, so it counts. So what you're supposed to do is figure out what are your basic living expenses? How much money do you need every month to cover those basic living, your food, your housing, your electric bill, all your cell phone, all your normal expenses? And that should be covered with guaranteed lifetime income. So Social Security would count, pension would count, but whatever you're short, That's where a lifetime income annuity fits from an insurance company. And then there's people who say, well, so-and-so says annuities are bad. I challenge you to find any PhDs who've researched retirement that will tell you annuities are bad. You can't find one, okay?
Right.
You need to have guaranteed lifetime income. And now, Brad, as you've seen, these interest rates, if there's one product that's been helped a lot by interest rates, it's annuities. So
Absolutely.
Annuities are paying out more now than I've seen in 15 years. It's a great time to look at that.
What a great
Then
time.
the second question was taking risk off the table. You might live a long life. The market might crash. You might withdraw too much money. We talked about sequence of returns risk. We're seeing inflation. That's a big risk. They're going to raise your taxes. I hate to tell you. I've been moving more of my I've been converting my IRAs and 401ks to Roth. Many of them are in income annuities, so I'll get tax-free income for the rest of my life. I've been moving more of my personal wealth to cash value life insurance. So, again, I get more tax-free income for the rest of my life. I think having tax-free income is going to be a big deal in retirement because our debt now is over $31 trillion, climbing at $4 billion every single morning. And, when interest rates were 1%, $31 trillion at 1% interest is $310 billion. Okay, that's a lot of money, but as a country, we can afford it. But at 5%, that's $1.5 trillion. That's more than that's almost double our defense budget. I mean, it's getting, some of this stuff is getting to be crazy. And so, taxes are going to have to go up. It's not a Republican or Democrat thing. It's a math problem. We need a math party, I think. But you might need long-term care. You might die. So there's all these risks in retirement, and too many people just think, I'll just put my portfolio and I'll let it go. And no, what happens if you need long-term care? What happens if taxes triple? What happens if you have inflation? See, I've protected myself against all those risks, and that's what I encourage other people to do as well.
That's so good. And everyone listening right now, you heard it right here. Tom Hegna is converting his tax-deferred, tax-infested accounts to Roths. And a lot of that's invested in annuities and life insurance. I know Ed Slott said back in 2010, he converted all of his IRAs to Roth IRAs. What did he do with the money? He put it into fixed annuities with income riders so he would have guaranteed tax-free income for the rest of his life. Financial geniuses are getting rid of the taxes in their portfolio. And that's why in my book, Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, I talk about having a brain tumor. When I was 27 in 1999, I had a brain tumor. And I correlate that to the taxes that are infested inside your tax-deferred accounts. It is a virus, and it's got to come out. You either take it out when you're in control of it, or you take it out when Uncle Sam says you have to, and you pay taxes at his rate. So tax is such a huge deal. So, Tom, thank you so much for explaining that. And let's piggyback on that. Let's talk about it. You mentioned PhDs and how now there's a lot of people that poo-poo on annuities and say, oh, they're terrible. You should never own one. They take out ads in papers and spend millions of dollars in commercials on TV, which it's kind of funny why they do that. But yet PhD educated people all across the country say, no, we all agree it's time to own annuities as part of your portfolio. So, back in 2022, I was the only financial group in our area, in the Springfield, Missouri area, to host the Baby Boomer Dilemma on 4 different occasions. Now, this is a movie documentary. I know, Tom, you're in it. You're in this film about 6 or 7 times. And it blew people away to watch the facts that were shared by leading economists and people with their PhDs. So talk a little bit about the Baby Boomer Dilemma. What is this dilemma that baby boomers face in our country today?
Yeah, I mean, they're retiring into uncertain times. We have an uncertain economy. We have an uncertain stock market. We have debt that's climbing unsustainably. Bad things are going to happen. We got a war going on in Ukraine. We got China, saber rattling with Taiwan. Yeah, it's a scary time. And then through this, the movie shows a family who, had, just like most people, had money in a 401k and then they took a lump sum and then they had to invest it and then the market went down and now they say, well, now we probably can't retire. And it just walks them through. But there are loaded with PhDs, and to include 2 Nobel Prize recipients, Dr. William Sharp, Dr. Robert C. Merton, are both in this film. And so you're getting it straight. And this is not any type of sales presentation or anything. This is a full motion picture rated documentary. And the Motion Picture Association will not document anything that's not true or that's some type of sales. It's not. It's just showing the optimal way to retire. And that's what it discusses in that movie. I think it's a fun movie. It's about about an hour and a half or something. It's not
Right.
It's not super long.
Right.
And it's it would be a great evening if they would come and watch that movie. I promise everybody watching will learn something. That's what I can promise.
I've had so many people who did become clients after the movie. They watched it. It blew their mind. They're like, hey, I've seen Tom Hegna online. A lot of them knew you, maybe didn't know some of the other people, but then they start researching the people that were in the film and they're like, wow, I want to know more about this. And so if you're listening right now and you want to have access to the movie, just give us a call. I can give you free access to the movie, not only to the movie, but to 2 hours of interviews and additional information after Baby Boomer Dilemma is over with all of the leading PhD economists that are in the movie that will talk more about the crisis that we're facing in this country because of Social Security debt falls and all the other things that it involves. So you definitely want to watch Baby Boomer Dilemma. Just call us anytime, 866-780-SAFE, 866-780-7233. We'll be happy to let you watch that free. So, Tom, I know in the movie, you talk about this. I know Dr. David Babel, he talks about in the movie he owned 14 annuities. I know you own 11 annuities. I own 6 annuities. Why in the world would you own something that so many people say is so terrible? How are you going to use it in your retirement to benefit you?
Because I know it's not terrible.
That's right.
If they were terrible, I wouldn't own any of them, okay? And I'm going to keep buying more because
Yes.
what I'm trying to do is have as much increasing income. So I buy income that starts at age 60, then I've got some that starts at 62, some that starts at 65, some that starts at 70, some that start whenever I want to. If I don't need them, they'll go on to my kids or whatever. But I'm trying to I see I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk. And everything that I talk about in Don't Worry, Retire Happy and Paychecks and Playchecks is what I've done to get me where I am today. And it's what I'm doing in the future. You know, I have people, you know, poo-poo cash value life insurance. Do you know what my annual premium for my life insurance is? $226,000. Now, if I wasn't serious about life insurance, I would not put $226,000 a year into it. But I've seen what that can do, and I've seen how much income that will give me tax-free for the rest of my life. Now, that's a limited pay. It's only a 12-pay deal, but you can see that once you get a lot of money in there, it's like a freight train, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you get started slow, but once that thing's going, nothing stops that thing, and I'll be able to take tax-free income for the rest of my life. And here's what I'd say to people who have money in a 401k. I would never put another penny in a 401k beyond the match. So if I was sitting down with somebody, say, does your company have a 401k? Yes. Does it have a match? Yes. Explain the match. Well, if I put in 4%, they give me 4%. Good. Do that. That's 100% rate of return. But beyond that, I personally would not put another penny in that 401k. I'd put it in an IRA. I put it in a Roth IRA. I put it in a Roth 401k, or I put it in cash value life insurance. Those are the 3 places that I would put it, because people don't realize. I was talking to somebody once. They said, "Tom, I got $1 million in my 401k." I said, "Really?" I said, "How much of that is yours?" I said, "What do you mean? It's all mine." I said, "No, it's not. You're just a partner. And by the way, you're a limited partner. The government's the general partner. They get to take their cut first. And here's the deal. You have no idea how much they're going to take. Right now, they're only taking like 38 or 39%. What happens when that goes back to 60, 70, 80%? Because we have had marginal tax rates over 90% in this country, in the past century. So, I just think people don't understand that's the government sees that as their money. And they're going to take as much of their money as they want, and you'll get whatever's left over. And I'm trying to avoid having that situation for me and my family.
Tom, I love it. Tom has no clue. The radio program I wrote yesterday, no clue. I just wrote about this, that what happens when your CPA or financial professional says, hey, you need a tax deduction this year. And you're trapped into thinking that you saved taxes. You didn't save it, you deferred it. And I go into the future tax rates and talk about what it was historically. In 1944, the year my father was born, the highest federal tax bracket was 94%. So Tom's giving you great advice. He always does. That's why he's a leading economist in this country and all across the world. Listen, taxes will be the number one issue you face in the future. So you've got to get rid of the tax and move it into something that's protected, guaranteed, and tax-free. So that's so good. Tom, I want to talk to you just about a couple of more things. I know that in Don't Worry, Retire Happy, you talk about how important it is that you work with a financial professional that has qualifications, a financial designation. I mean, anyone can get a license, pass a test to sell something, and they can be on radio, TV, and sell all kinds of stuff. Doesn't mean they're necessarily qualified. Both myself and my son Hunter, we're retirement income certified professionals through the American College. I'm also a certified financial fiduciary and a certified annuity specialist. But here's the thing that's interesting. When we went through the RICP course with Dr. Wade Fowle through the American College, they have to be agnostic regarding what products that you use to fund your retirement. They really don't care if it's stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, life insurance. As long as you meet with the individual client, find out what works for them and piece together something that's going to give them a floor, that's going to give them guaranteed stuff to pay their basic expenses, and then you can use whatever you want. But I do know this. You talk to any of them individually. I've talked to Dr. Wade Fowle. I've interviewed him on this show. He loves annuities. He's pro annuity. He talks about how important they are. He wrote Safety First Retirement Income Planning. And so why is it that so many PhD people are all behind annuities and flooring approaches to income, but then there are people that say bad things about them, things that aren't true? Why is it that they do that, Tom?
If somebody says something bad about annuities, you know one thing about them. They have an agenda that they are, trying to sell you some higher risk product or high fee product. The guy on TV who says he hates annuities, he's got some of the highest fees out there, and the only thing he could pick on was variable annuities. But he doesn't say variable. He says all annuities. Well, most annuities are not even fee products. He doesn't say that. So I think there's just multiple types of annuities, and people get confused about the different types. A single premium immediate annuity is not a fee product. You're guaranteed $2,000 a month. That's exactly what you're going to get for the rest of your life. Right. Same with a deferred income annuity. Same with a base fixed index annuity. Same with a base fixed annuity. Yeah. The only types of annuities that even have fees are either optional riders or variable annuities. That's it. And why do variable annuities have fees? Because they're protecting you against losses in the stock market, which is not cheap, So right. I don't know. I don't understand these people who say that they're bad when I can show you 150 PhDs who say you shouldn't retire without one. And one last thing, Brad, I was going to say on the last segment when we were talking about taxes. Yeah. You have a lot of farmers and ranchers in the area. You got an agricultural community there. I would always say to the ag people, I say, would you rather pay tax on the seed or pay tax on the harvest? See, a Roth IRA, you're paying tax on the seed. But a regular IRA or 401k, you're paying tax on the harvest. And I don't know a single farmer in America who would rather pay tax on the harvest than tax on the seed.
So good. So good. Well, Tom, I appreciate so much you being with us today. I want to talk to you about one more thing, and it's kind of off topic that we would normally talk about when we're together, but we were in Denver together last week speaking at a conference, and we got a chance to sit around and talk for a while just one-on-one, and we got to talk about something we both love. We love golf. I was a college golfer. I used to be good. Now I'm just kind of scary dangerous if I can hit some balls, but because I have to work. But you now are entering that semi-retired stage where you get to play quite a bit, and I know you live in the land of golf in the Phoenix area. So you mentioned something this last week, and I thought I love that. Being a golfer, I watch it every weekend. I love golf. So you talked about how many 14 clubs is what you can have in a bag, and how important it is to use all the tools in your bag, and how that relates to retirement. Talk about that, if you will, for just a minute.
Yeah, so, you think about it, you have a driver in your bag, and that's what you use to tee off on the longer holes. You have wedges that you use to chip around. You got a putter that you putt. You got irons that you can come in from different distances. Each club has a purpose, all right? Now, I don't use my driver to hit out of the sand trap, right, and I don't use my putter off the tee, okay? But there are some financial advisors who only have one or two tools in the bag. Oh, I just do manage money. I don't believe in long-term care insurance. I don't believe in annuities. Well, that's stupid. It'd be like saying I don't believe in a putter. I only believe in drivers and 3-woods. That's all I believe in. I mean, it'd be stupid. So I think the financial advisor who does not use all the tools in their bag is not the right advisor for you. You want an advisor who says, look, everything's open. What do you want? What are your goals? And let me put together a plan that's going to do that for you the best. I'm going to create the optimal retirement situation for you. And managed money alone can't do it. Annuities alone can't do it. Life insurance alone can't do it. But together, and that's what all the research shows, together, these products can work well. You can have the investments that can fuel your growth and protect you long-term inflation. You can have the guaranteed income. Then you can ladder it so that can grow too if you want it to. And then you can pay your basic expenses out of that, and much more efficiently, by the way, than an investment portfolio. Investment portfolio, they're saying now you should only take out about 3.2%.
Right.
I know many annuities out there that are guaranteeing 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%, depending on your age. So you can do far better with the payout from an annuity, at least for the income that you need, and then invest for the long term. But you also have to have a plan for long-term care. You got to know what your tax situation is. You want to have increasing income to compete against inflation. What if you live to be 130? What if they cure cancer? What if they cure diabetes? What if they cure all these diseases? And now you're living for 130 years. Is your portfolio going to last that long? See, guaranteed lifetime income pays you no matter how long you live. And so there's just so much out there. And, I encourage people just to read the books. The books are loaded with all the references that I use. All the PhDs are quoted in there. You can check up all my stuff. I always tell people, do your due diligence on me just like you would on anybody else. But my stuff is backed by math and science. So that's
absolutely
what I got to say today, Brad.
And that's why I've been giving your books away for years. Guys, if you want to read Paychecks and Playchecks or Don't Worry, Retire Happy, 7 Steps to Retirement Security, just call our office. Call 866-780-7233. We'll be more than happy to sit down with you, give you a free financial consultation. We'll give you a copy of Tom's books. We want this information in your hands. We are passionate about making sure that you hear the truth and that you have the facts when it comes to retirement planning. Because think about this. When you retire, it is very possible that you're going to live 30 to 35 years on your assets. When the first spouse passes away, the average spouse lives 14.2 years after the death of the first spouse. Are you passing on guarantees and so that they don't have to worry about running out of money while still being alive? So, Tom, we're so grateful for your information, how passionate you are about educating the public. We're thankful for you. I appreciate our friendship and you taking the time to be with us today. So everyone, don't worry, retire happy. You need to find out how. Give us a call, 866-780-7233. We'll get you Tom's information absolutely free. Tom, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Brad. Great being with you.
You guys have a great week.